And just who was Justin Trudeau's dad? Many claim the young prime minister's biological father to be none other than Fidel Castro. Now, these rumors were stirred up yet again in February 2018 when Castro's eldest son committed suicide. Several sites had begun reporting right away that he had left a note behind, even providing a full transcript of it. The alleged note had contained quite the surprising revelation. He had wrote that Fidel was, quote, always comparing me unfavorably with Justin and dismissing my achievements in comparison to his success in Canada. Then he laments, but what am I to do? I'm Cuban, my brother's Canadian. If he was born and raised in Cuba, he would have lived in our father's shadow forever just like me. Now, obviously, without an actual picture of the note, it's hard to verify its authenticity. So the first thing I tried to verify was, is it plausible? Could Margaret Trudeau have had an affair with Fidel Castro leading to the conception of baby Justin? Now, judging by Margaret alone, yeah, absolutely. She was notorious for partying around Manhattan, Studio 54, constantly being accused of infidelity. And one famous case was when she spent her 6th wedding anniversary partying with the Rolling Stones, where rumors were spreading that she even had an affair with Mick Jagger. Now, of course, she denied this claim, but it was only one of many from that time period. Now, top of that, the Trudeaus and Castro did have a famous friendship during this time in the 70s. And you can see that from these pictures here in their 1976 trip down to Cuba, with many pictures of Castro and Trudeau's holding baby Michael, Justin's younger brother. Margaret, in fact, was once even quoted as calling Castro the sexiest man she had ever met. Now, Justin was born December 25th, 1971, so this means they would have had to have met at least as early as spring of 71, as according to Snopes, the gestation period for conception would have been between March 16th and April 22nd. Now, I know this because when you Google Justin being Castro's son, it, shocker, is the first article that comes up, to which they answer a resounding false. Oh, case closed, guys. Nothing to see here. They even take a side-by-side someone made of Justin and Fidel at the same age and superimpose them over each other to make it look like some crackpot comparison, only looking similar because they're over each other and the whole thing being a stretch. Well, here's the original side-by-side. Don't worry, there'll be more picture comparisons in a moment. So March 16th to April 22nd. All right, first we'd have to establish an initial meeting of Trudeau and Castro, and this comes in the way of telephone back in 1970 during the October crisis when the Canadian government sought to negotiate the exile of members of the Front de Libération de Québec, or the FLQ, to Cuba. Now, Fidel Castro obliged Prime Minister late December 1970 by providing a refuge and even later extending his heartfelt gratitude to Pierre. Well, it just so happens that only 4 months later, Pierre and Margaret took a surprise second honeymoon to Barbados on Thursday, April 8th, 1971, as reported by the Ottawa Journal. The article states that Prime Minister Trudeau and his wife Margaret had arrived that Thursday, the 8th, and had left Barbados on Monday, which would be April 12th, by chartered plane on a quick trip to an unidentified nearby island, and that heavy security measures had been in effect for the entire time to ensure the couple's privacy. So on April 12th, which according to Snopes falls directly in the gestation period for Justin's conception, Margaret and Pierre had been in the Caribbean, only a short plane ride away from Fidel Castro, whom Pierre had just recently become acquainted with only 4 months earlier on a spur-of-the-moment second honeymoon, which was mired in secrecy due to heavy security, on which they chartered a plane to a, quote, unidentified nearby island. So yes, to Trudeau's new Castro, and yes, Margaret was in the vicinity of Fidel during the gestation period and even took a secret trip to an unidentified island. 9 months later, Justin was born, and he grew up to be the spitting image of a young Fidel Castro. You can even see Fidel here giving Justin a warm embrace during Pierre's funeral, as this looked like two people who have never met before.